guys, welcome to another Licks live stream. It's Friday, and today we are going to dig into some 1-6-2-5 licks. Obviously, the 1-6-2-5 progression is super common in jazz. You know, it's like one of the basic building blocks of jazz. So getting some licks in that you can, use to navigate that kind of jam scenario, that is definitely a good approach to, being able to, jam with more efficiency and just, basically get a stronger jazz language. So I'm going to teach you some licks that you can use on a 1-6-2-5 in G major. And I'll just play it for you first. And they actually start on the 5 chord, so you're getting 2 lots of licks that you can play on a 5 chord, and they're both actually coming from the dominant diminished scale scenario. So we'll talk more about that in a second. Let me play it for you. All right, one more time. Here we go. All right, so here we have a 1-6-2-5 progression that hasn't made the 6 chord into a secondary dominant. There is a track out there that I've made that does have that progression, so that it's a G major 7, or just a G if you like, and then that will be E7, and then A minor, and then D, so A minor 7 and D7. That's your very jazzy version and very common version of a 1-6-2-5. But this one we're doing here is actually even more simple, and it's kind of suited for beginners or jazz beginners, because that one is literally just the G and then an E minor 7. So it's the diatonic, it's the one that just has notes, the chord that just has notes from the G major scale. Then it's A minor 7, and then it's D7. Okay, so G or G major 7 if you like, E minor 7, A minor 7, and D7. Okay, that's the progression, and that means that since all of these chords, the 1-6-2-5, are all diatonic, it means that we can just play G major over the whole thing. But obviously, I'm here to give you, a little more than that. I want to give you some of the fancy jazz color that you can add to the scenario, and the main place that we're doing it here is on the D7, the 5 chord, where we are using the dominant diminished scale. So that's a symmetrical scale that goes half tone, whole tone, half tone, whole tone, half tone, whole tone, half tone, whole tone. Okay, it's a super lovely sounding scale that you can do a lot with. There are many things you can do with the dominant diminished scale. So but yeah, today we're just going to dive into some licks that are coming from that kind of scale. It's a great sound, and also actually the licks do come from an intro solo, the intro solo to the track that I made just last week, which is a 1-6-2-5 progression in G major. The track is linked below, so you can practice on that track. And there's actually a tab for the whole solo. So this is actually a little part of the intro solo. Obviously, it was an improvised intro solo, but this is basically a little snippet of that solo. If you want to learn the whole solo, it's linked below. It's obviously in front of the jam track, and also the tab is on my Patreon. That's linked below as well. And that's where absolutely all of my tabs go. You can get access to all of them. just like that. The link is below. Okay, so we are in G major, and we are going to dive in now. I'll play it for you one more time, and then we'll dive in. So 1, the 6, the 2, and then the 5 comes here. So there's a little bit of a burst of 16th notes there, but apart from that, it's all, you know, 8th notes basically, and actually does also start with a little bit of a burst like that, and that is basically going into the 5 chord right there. So going into the 5 chord, we are hammering, or sorry, pulling off from 17 to 15, the 3rd finger to the 1st finger on the top E string, and then you're going to slide into the 14th fret, which is the first note that you get on the D7 chord. So it lands on that note there, and that is the major 3rd of D. It's an F sharp note right there, so obviously a strong note, a strong chord tone. You know that a major 3rd is always going to be strong, isn't it? So that is a pull off and a slide, okay? And now we're going to go onto the 16th fret with the 3rd finger of the B string and pull off to the 15th fret, okay? And this is the flat 9 pulling off to the root note. So you know, a strong kind of jazz color. And these notes are borrowing from the scale that I just mentioned, which is the half whole tone, the dominant diminished scale of D. So we pull off like that, and now we're going to go just continue down that scale basically. Okay. So we're going to go 1st finger on 13 and 12 on the B string, then we're going to pull off from 14 to 13 on the G string, and then go to 11. So literally just going down the D dominant diminished scale. Okay, and that gets us to the first beat of the 1 chord. So that was just a little lead into the you know, the 1, 6, 2, 5. So we started there on the 5. Okay. So that is our starting phrase. Okay. Two, 3, 4. Okay. Do it one more time. 2, 3, 4. All right. And so after that, now we're gonna take that last note there that we had, which is an F sharp, major 3rd of the D. Now that F sharp, we're gonna go down a semitone and go back up into that F sharp, and use that as the first note of the bar that has G on it. So that is basically your G. That's the major 7th of G, right? The F sharp there. So that's a lovely color. I love that. That's proper jazz coloring. But we're going to slide down to the F natural and then slide back up into that F sharp right there. Let me just check the tab. Yep. So Yeah, so we land on that F sharp, then we slide down to 10, then back up to 11. Okay? Okay? So it's a little bit of a quick move there. So from 11 down to 10, back up to 11. All right? Now we're gonna go, so here, kind of playing on the G major 7 arpeggio, actually G major 9 even, yeah, that's the root, that's the major 3rd, the 5th, the major 7th, and the 9th, okay? So there we have the first note that I already showed you, then 14 on the G string with your little finger, and then you go back into playing that F sharp there on the 11th fret, but again you're going to approach it from below by sliding into it from the F natural. So that's obviously something you can do with any note in jazz. You can always slide into any note from below it or above it even. So like that, yeah? So, and now we're gonna go second finger on the 12th fret of the D string, little finger on the 14th fret of the A string, and then little finger on the 14th fret of the D string. So, okay? Yeah? So that brings us to the E minor 7, if you like. And now we're going to whip out a 16th note phrase. Okay? So here we're going to go 12 on the G string with your second finger, and then back, and then 14 on the D string with your little finger, and then back up to 12. And then we're going to use a little naughty note there leading into the E. Again, you can see that as the principle of approaching a note from half a step below, if you like. Okay? So I'm using my third finger on 13, hammering on to 14 on the D string. Okay? And then I'm going to continue up the scale here. 11, 12, and 14 on the G string with my first finger, second finger, and fourth fingers. And I'm going to hammer on from 12 to 14. Like that. Okay? Make sense? Now, we're going to go 12 and then pull off from 15 to 12. Like that. And we're still on the E minor chord here. Okay, using my first finger and my little finger. And then we're gonna go straight on the A minor. We're gonna land on this note here, which of course is the minor third of A minor. Always thinking chord tones, right? And that goes. Okay, so I have a little bit of chromaticism here as well. So land on 13 with your second finger, and then we're gonna go kind of a jazz lick in itself as well, something that you can isolate and play around with. So 12, the first finger on the E string, 13 again on the B string with your second finger, pull off to 12, and then 14 with your third finger on the G string. Like that. And then you're going to do this little classic jazz phrase. okay? So we're going 15, 14, 13, and then back up to 15, starting with the little finger, like that. Okay? So we get that. And then, before we go into the crucial D7 territory, where we're gonna again whip out that dominant diminished kind of sound, very handy for playing on 5 chords. Before we do that, we're gonna go, so there's just a little bit about a triplet, which is that. So we're gonna hammer on from 12 to 15 with the little finger, first finger to 15th fret with the little finger, and then pull off to 13 with the second finger, and then play 12, like that. So on the A minor chord, we go. Okay, let me play it for you. All right, so is our last part. Okay, so that is a pretty delightfully, jazzy sounding phrase, right? So it's like a 4-note per string pattern, and the run is not as hard as it might sound. Okay, so let's nail that run, guys. It basically goes, we start with that, 14 and 13, third finger and second finger on the G string. Okay, and then, so these are 16th notes, and then you're gonna go 11, which is obviously the major third of that D7 chord, and then you're gonna slide that down, and from then on it's just 16th notes running down the dominant diminished scale. So let me show you. So we're sliding with the first finger from 11 to 10, and then you're going to use your little finger on 13 on the D string, third finger on 12, and first finger sliding from 10 to 9. And that is the fingering that you're going to be using, actually all the way going down. Okay? So now you go 12, 11, 9, 8. Yeah? Little finger, third finger, and pointy finger going down like that. So, okay, now you're going to use your little finger again. Same set of fingers basically, and this time it's 11, 10, 8, and then the slide down to 7. So that there is your D dominant diminished scale being used over a D7 in the context of a G major 1, 6, 2, 5. Okay? And then we land on this note, which is within the scale of, the D dominant diminished, but it's actually now a new cycle. So it lands on this note, which is the major third of G. So it lands on a glorious chord tone, the major third of G, and then it actually goes up to the G note as well there, 10th fret on the A string. So like that, okay? Yeah. And with the track. There we go, guys. So when I say track, I obviously mean my loop. So if you want to check it out and try actually playing it with the track that it was played on, the track is linked below. So hit up the jam, have lots of fun with it. Remember, you know, you can literally play just one scale. You can play G major, you know, G major scale, which is obviously E minor. It's the same 6 notes, same 7 notes, meaning as E minor. So you can actually play E minor on this track. See if you can make it sound nice and jazzy by playing on the E minor scale. Obviously E minor pentatonic, which is G major pentatonic. That works too. So the trick is obviously to, you know, play around with stuff that you do know, and then try and fit in some of these licks along the way. See if you can build on your vocabulary like that. And yeah, that's it, guys. Obviously, you know, if you look at the track, there's loads of like scale suggestions and everything in the description. I mean, they're in the description of all of my jams. So have a look at those if you want to, you know, see what else you can do apart from the, you know, G major scale. And there's also scale maps and everything else linked in the description. It's all on Patreon, basically. All there to make you guys have as much fun as you possibly can, you know. I hope that you will have loads of fun with these licks. Next week is Blues Week, so we're gonna have 7 blues jam tracks coming your way. There's also one of them that has a special guest I look forward to sharing with you guys. He's actually been on recently. It was such a success working with him that we decided to do it again straight away. But I'm doing a new format with him where we're gonna have a question and answer kind of situation, like a call and response on that jam. So a little bit like the copycat jams that I made a few of a few years ago. But this one's gonna be like a call and response thing between me and my special guest. And I also have a jam coming up where I play actually both guitar and blues harp. I've always loved doing that, and haven't done it for years, but I felt like adding a little extra flavor to Blues Week this time around. So I really hope that you enjoy all those tracks, and you know, thanks for everybody that helped me decide, you know, which tracks to do for this Blues Week. I put up a poll, and lots of people came up with great ideas. So you guys absolutely rock. I appreciate you very, very much. And that is it, guys. Hope you have loads of fun with the licks, and I will see you very soon. Take care, guys.